Hello, beautiful people. Today we are going to be discussing writing equations of quadratic equations or functions. Standard form, as you know, is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Intercept form, y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. And vertex form is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So for number one, my directions are to write the quadratic equation or quadratic function in vertex form of the parabola shown. So here's my parabola. My goal for this one is to use vertex form, which is right here. I'm just going to rewrite it just so I have it a little bit closer and so that my eye focuses on that and nothing else. So in this parabola, they gave me a couple, three things. They give me my vertex and they give me an extra point over here, which is great. I can plug everything that I have into this equation in order to find my equation, but the main thing I want you to know is that you need two things. You need your a and you need your intercept, the h and the k. The h and the k are given. That's my vertex, h, k. Go ahead and label that. And then my point is x, y. I'm now going to rewrite this whole equation, but I'm going to plug in everything I have. So instead of y, I'm going to write -1 equals a, I don't know, parentheses x was 1, minus h, which is -2, squared, plus k, which is 1. I will simplify, and then I will solve for a. So I'll add the opposite. 1 plus 2 is 3. Yeah, I promise. And then I'll have -1 is equal to 9a plus 1, subtract 1. -2 is equal to 9a. So I have a is equal to -2 over 9. Okay, I have what I need. So now I'm going to go back to this equation that we had here, and I'm going to plug in my a, my h, and my k. So here's my h and k, and now here's my a. So y is equal to a, -2 over 9 times quantity x minus -2, so plus 2, squared, and then it says plus k, so plus 1. Remembering when I'm dealing with the h, I pretty much just switch the sign and then I'm all good. Alright, that is now in vertex form. Let's try another one. Number 2. Write the equation in intercept form. So just as a reminder for us, and I have it right above us, intercept form is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. Gorgeous. Let's plug in what we know. Well, I have a point, so this is going to be my x and my y. The p and the q, remember, are your intercepts. So my p looks to be 1. And my q looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that's where it crosses. So this is at 1 and this is at 4. Let's plug in everything we know. So instead of y, I'm going to put the -6 equals a, I don't know. X, I do know because they gave me a point. X is 2. Minus p, which was 1. Times x, which is 2. Minus q, which is 4. I'm going to go ahead and simplify. And so a would have to be equal to 3. Wonderful. When I write my equation, I'll write 3, and then parentheses, this x stays the same, minus p, so -1, times x minus q, which we said was 4. There you go. That's writing it in, we did one with intercept and one with vertex form. Let's keep it pushing. Now, for this example, I do need you to take a moment and press pause because your directions look a little bit different than mine. So go ahead and make yours look like mine for just 1 second. So a group of students dropped a rubber ball of measured and measure the height in inches of the ball each time that it bounces, basically. So if you notice, it's going to go like bounce, 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 bounce. So that's why you have the different heights there. The results are shown in this table. Find the quadratic model in standard form. So that's my key. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, unlike the other problem, instead of just finding an a, I need to find a, b, and c. That's 3 variables. We've solved equations for 3 variables before, but we do need to use matrices in order to do it. So let's set up each of these equations, and this is going to be like my x, and this will be like my y. And I'm going to plug in for each one of these points. So the first point is going to be 47 equals a times the x is 1, so 1 squared, plus the b, which we don't know, times 1, plus the c. I don't know what that is either. So let's simplify. 47 equals 1 squared is just 1, so that's a, plus b, plus c. Okay, that's one equation. Now for the next point, this is still x and y. 39 equals, plugging in, a, what's the x for this one? 2. So I have 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c, which I don't know either. 39 equals 2 squared is 4a plus 2b plus c. Okay, if you want, you can, and I'd be very, very proud of you if you did. Press pause and plug in the next point. That would be dope. And make sure that your equation matches up mine. And you should get 26 equals 3 squared is 9a plus 3b plus c. Cool. This is a system. That's my first equation. Here's my next equation. And then here's my last equation. Now in this video, I'm going to kind of just go over this, expecting that you kind of remember what we did one chapter ago in chapter 12. I'm going to give you just a little bit of a reminder. When we're solving a system with 3 variables, we use this equation. My apologies. X, the matrix X, that's your coefficient matrix, is equal to A inverse times B. B being my solution matrix and A being my coefficient matrix. So X is going to be A, B, and C, because that's what I don't know. And then A, let's look at my coefficients. It goes 1, 4, 9, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, and then all the C's are 1, 1, and 1. I need the inverse of that times the solution matrix. 47, 39, and 26. This is -1. Okay, so am I going to make you do that by hand? Heck no, tech no. You do have your calculator, so let's go ahead and enter these in for your matrices. And for those of us that maybe forgot a little bit, you're going to hit second x to the -1, and then you're going to go to edit. So second x to the -1, and then edit. You're going to enter in a 3 by 3 matrix for number 1, and you're going to enter in all these data points. Go ahead and press pause if you need a minute to do that. You're going to need a minute, so just do it. I actually want you to do this on your calculator. So do me a favor, press pause, grab your calculator, put this information in, and then after you've done that, I want you to do the same thing for the second matrix, for matrix B. 47, 39, and 26. Do it for real, because I don't want you to be on a test and be like, oh no, I don't know how to do this. Do it for me. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Okay. Once that information is in, and I'm low-key trusting you, you're going to multiply them. So I'm going to go second x to the -1. I'm going to do the first matrix, which was A, and I need the inverse. I need the inverse of that, so -1. And then I'm going to multiply that by second x to the -1, matrix B. Enter. Am I afraid of decimals? Absolutely not, because the calculator did all that work for me. So what this is saying is that matrix ABC is equal to 2.5, negative 0.5, and 50. Great. I have my A, I have my B, and I have my C. With that, I can write down all of my information. Going back here, right here, y is equal to A, 2.5, x squared, minus the b, 0.5. I put minus because it's a negative number. X, and then plus c. This is the model that represents at least the first 3 data points. Beautiful. Now, you will absolutely positively hate me if I make you do that every single time, especially because we're solving for 3 variables. There is a way to do this on your calculator as well, solely on your calculator without setting up the matrix. It will be a little bit more accurate because, remember, for number 3, we just used the first 3 points. Great. But we can use all of these data points by putting it into our calculator directly. So let's remind you all, so here's the information. A bank adjusts interest for new certificates of deposits daily for January through May. So this is January, February, March, April, and May. I'm labeling it because usually in our real life, January equals 1. Not on here, and I don't want that to mess me up later on in the problem. So the first thing I need to do is to get this information into my calculator. So to do that, I'm going to hit Stat on your handy dandy calculators. And I'm going to hit number 1 because I want to edit a list. Stat 1, and I'm going to enter in this data, which is exactly what I want you to do. We've done this before for LinReg. Only difference is now we're using Quadratic. It's only difference. So enter this in for L1 and L2 if you don't mind, please. Go ahead and press pause. Do it for real. So L1 is your month. L2 is your rate. Once you have the information in, you can hit Stat. Write down the calculator steps too, though, because it kind of makes your life a little bit easier. And then you're going to hit the arrow to the right all the way until you get to Calculate, or Calc. And this time, instead of LinReg, we went number 5, which is Quadratic. Now, different models require different things, so I'm going to just tell you to go ahead and hit Enter until it calculates. Until it calculates it for me. So I was here, my model does this. And I'm going to hit Enter, 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 Enter. And then I get these wonderful values. They tell me the A, B, and C. So let's enter that in. I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth. So y equals negative 0.24x squared plus 0.75x plus 3.91. Gorgeous. Now, the next question for this problem says, according to the model, during which month, when it says which month, in my mind it triggers, I'm looking for an x value. Did the certificate deposits have the highest rate? That's making me think of, it opens down because it's negative. I want the x part of the vertex. Well, that's the same formula as the axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a. So this is going to be negative 0.75 over 2a, 0.24. And then you can do that math in your head like me, or you can use a calculator like I actually did in real life and get 1.56. So the month of 1 is going to be February. During February, the certificate deposits have the highest interest rate. I'm going to let you write your own sentences for that one because I'm going to skedaddle and go on to the next page for us. Okay. Next one. Find the zeros of the function by rewriting the function in intercept form. Intercept form, as a reminder, is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. Well, in order for me to do that, beautiful people, I'm going to need to factor this first. So some of us are used to using a box. Works for me. First term, first box. Last term, last box. And I need to multiply. I need two numbers that will multiply to give me negative 30x squared. And if this is not how you factor, factor how you normally do. And add to give me 7x. In my mind, I'm thinking 10x and negative 3x. Yeah, that works. And then these two have a 3x in common. These two have a 2. In common is a 5x for these two terms and a negative 1 for these two. So right now I'm looking at y is equal to 3x plus 2 times 5x minus 1. And then I'm thinking, that looks great. That wasn't too bad. Well, the only issue is my a's should match up, and right now they don't, because this has an a of 15 and I don't even have an a here. It's because this is the fun part, I need this coefficient to be a 1. So I'm going to divide it by 3. Or actually I'm factoring out a 3. So this will be 3 times x plus 2 out of 3. Oh, that's awesome. And then for the other fraction, I need to factor out a 5. So I'm going to have 5 times x minus, well, what's 1 over 5? I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. They're my friends, and it's fine. So what's the a? 3 times 5 is 15. Oh, wonderful. Now we match. Times x plus 2 over 3 times x minus 1 over 5. That is my equation. Take a moment right now. I would love for you to pause and try number 6 on your own, and then you can check your answer with me. Okay, so if you did it, then you only had to take out one of those extra terms, and I just did that for us. And so that is what I get. H of x is equal to x plus 1/4 times x plus 1. Now, for this next set of directions, this is actually number 8. I'm going to have you do number 7 on your own because we've actually done this before. So my directions are to write the equation of the function in vertex form. And to do that, I need my h and I need my k, and the a is still just going to be 2. So I can find the vertex by using x equals negative b over 2a, which is negative of 4 over 2 times 2, which is negative 1. I need the h part of it, the k part of it, so I'm going to plug this in. Plus 4 times negative 1 minus 7. So this would be negative 9. Check my math. I won't be offended if you tell me that I'm wrong. So I have my h and my k, and I know that my a equals 2. I have everything that I need right here. So y is equal to 2 times x minus h, so it's going to be plus 1 squared plus minus 9. There we go. Now, show me what you really know, and try number 7 on your own, if you would please, using what we did in previous notes, and then I will have your answer here for you to check. Oh, it also said to identify the vertex, which we did here, negative 1, negative 9. And so if you worked out number 7, you would have 4, negative 5 as your vertex, and g of x is equal to x minus 4 squared minus 5. Oh. All right, thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.